Hello. So, presenting today, I want to try and teach you all about angles. And that's what they're called. So, like a triangle, it kind of lets you know if, what I'm thinking about for the test. And, after we try to kind of go over this, we're going to play a game about angles. So, you all know about angles. Like, what are they? I'm going to explain it a little bit more. So, if there's a line that is intersecting with another line, what happens is where they meet at that intersection, that space in between, how do you measure it? So the intersection that you're measuring, that's where you use angles. So here's an example of an angle. That measurement is called angle. So for measurements, you use angles. So how do you know what the size of an angle is? I'll guess probably 45 degrees here. So, and you can make it wider. So if I make it a little bit wider and double that size, it's about 90 degrees, and that's called a perpendicular angle. And that's because the lines, one going straight across, and the other one going straight up, what happens is you get that right angle. You see that explanation, how that means perpendicular? Does that make sense? It has a 90-degree angle. So, like a rectangle has many different angles that are perpendicular. And so, when you draw a rectangle, you know that if you just make the perfect 90-degree squares in the corners, that's how you can measure um, so this line right here, this angle you see, I'd probably guess that that's about 35 degrees. So if an angle uses so sorry about that. If an angle is wider, it becomes more like a line. So excuse me, that was 135 degrees. So 180 degrees is a straight line. So it continues on and on and on if you keep going, the 135-degree angle, and you can add on to it. So if you look at it from another perspective, you see that the other side of that angle can go all the way around like a circle. And so if that is just 135 degrees right here at this angle, then the rest of that circle, so if a circle is 360 degrees on its own, then you're just going to subtract that 135-degree angle from it to know that it equals 225 degrees on the other side of that angle from the other perspective. So a circle has 360 degrees in it, always. It's important to know. If the circle is cut directly in half, that one half is 180 degrees, which is where we get the line. So that circle, if you only take a quarter of it, that's going to be a 90-degree angle right there, like we talked about before. So there's 4 90-degree quarters in a circle. So, I'm just kind of trying to teach some rules and some tips that will help you know how to deal with angles and guess angles. So we're going to draw it again. So here's a line, and I'm going to use, this color. It's kind of boring, but whatever. So it's going to help show you all. So, so here's another angle that I'm drawing, and it's not perfect, but whatever. So it's about 30 degrees, I'd say. So let's think about the rest of that circle again. So 360 degrees. Oh, sorry, this is an ugly circle, but that's my angle. Sorry. Um, so if that is, so if the angle in the lines is 30, then the rest of the circle must be 330 degrees, because that's what you get when you subtract 360 and 30. So the circle has 360 degrees, like we talked about before. So if, I don't know if you remember that game that's 720, and it's a video game. So what you do in the game is you turn around and around, and after you spun twice, they make sure to let you know that it's 700 and 700 and something degrees, and so you know that that's a circle twice. So that's, if you think of one half of that, that's, then you know that that's one circle. So think about this line too. We want to talk about these types of angles as well. So if you see, there's an angle right here. Sorry, I used the wrong one. I don't know. Whatever. So let's just call this angle right here X. On the other side, that angle is Y. So X and Y, they're connected. But how are they connected? What connects them? So if you think about the whole entire line, that's 180 degrees, right? Because it's a half of a circle. So we have X and Y dividing this 180 degrees, and so if you add them, X plus Y, it's going to equal 180 because it's on that line. Or, you can write it out as a different formula, or say X equals 180 minus Y. It's just kind of a lot. You can do a bunch of different representations for that to show the degrees. But either way, so you see X and Y are on the lines. And so there's a formal word to kind of explain this relationship, and that's supplementary angles. They're connected because when you add them together, they create that 180 degree line. So 180 degrees altogether. So if the situation changes a little bit, or the situation, you add on a different part of the angle. So the perpendicular line, you have that right angle, if you think about that, 90 degrees, right? So now, if you have that angle cut in half, what you get is X and Y. So this is kind of like a situation, we're kind of just minimizing this and looking at it from another perspective. So no matter what, it's going to equal 90 degrees. And so X and Y, they both are complementary. Don't mix it up and misunderstand complementary for supplementary. So they're connected to degrees. So supplementary is connected to 180 complementary is connected to 90. But my time's run out, so I'm going to describe that a little bit more in the next video. So thank you.